Oh hey, what's happening there YouTube? It's Brian House here for Housework, and today we are going to be demystifying how to connect and set up a 10-inch contact wheel on a 2x72 belt grinder. Let's get started. All right, let's real quick talk about contact wheels. This is a 10-inch contact wheel. This is the only one I have. I find 10 inches is just perfect for me. I know there's a variety of sizes out there. 2 all the way up to 12, 20 inches even I've seen. For me, the 10-inch is the most versatile. That's the one I like. I got this one on, I think it's Alibaba or AliExpress. I can't remember. I'll put a link down in the description so you can find it. Yeah, it takes a little while for them to get it over here to the U.S., but if you're not in the U.S., you probably get it pretty quick. The other option is Amazon. There's Ameribraid. There's all these options for you to find a good contact wheel. They can get pricey. Now, the ones that come from overseas, the cheaper ones like this, sometimes you have to balance them. You have to, make a modification to them. So I just like to forewarn people, cheaper isn't always better. You can typically fix it though. Also, I like the serrated edge version. I've heard a lot of theories about why this is here, from cooling to grip to all kinds of things. I don't know. I just think it looks cool. So, yeah. Okay, so the first step of this process is to cut down our steel. The tooling arm is a 14-inch long piece of 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch tube steel. This is a standard tooling arm for the Revolution 2x72 belt grinder project. If you're not familiar with that project, I'll go ahead and put a link down in the description so you can check out more about that. Anyhow, and you'll also need a 2-inch long piece of 1-inch square steel or some other kind of steel that you could stack up and create this spacer. We're going to cut this down to size, and then we're going to throw it in a vinegar bath so it will remove all of the mill scale. I like to let my steel soak for 24 to 48 hours to remove the mill scale. After 24 hours, we're going to pull it from the vinegar, and then we're going to wash it down with soap and water and spray it down with a little bit of Windex to neutralize the acid. Don't forget to spray the inside of the tubes as well. Believe it or not, glass cleaner will help neutralize the acid and also protect the steel. Now, one of the things I like to do once the tooling arm is all cleaned up and ready to go, I like to take it over to my Revolution grinder and ensure that it will in fact slide in and out without too much headache. Now is the time to make this adjustment. If something's not correct, now is the time to change it. It's just much easier at this stage. Okay, so you can probably see where we're going with this. This is the tooling arm, weld seams on the bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to weld a spacer. Nice thick 1-inch spacer here to the, well, it would be the right side of the tube if you were staring at the wheel, the user-facing component of this. And the reason is that we want to be able to drill and tap all the way through these and thread in our 1/2-inch bolt. Now, when you weld this, you don't want to go weld crazy because you don't want to work harden the 1-inch piece. If you do that, you're going to get, you're going to have this piece harden. It's going to be really tough to drill and tap. So we're going to clamp this down to the workbench or together. It's up to you. There's like a lot of options as far as welding clamps go. And we're going to place a couple of hot tacks and then maybe just one strong structural tack, and then we'll drill and tap these two pieces together. All right, so you can see I've got the tacks that I wanted. One quite hot tack there. I ended up actually doing a couple more on the back end here just to kind of shore it all up. This is going to be far away from where we're going to be drilling and tapping, so it's not a big deal. Shouldn't work harden anything. Nice and tight, nice and hot. That's the way I like it. And let's move on to drilling and tapping this hole. Real quick before we take it over to the drill press, I'm going to go ahead and make a mark here. This will serve as the mark that I use to drill and tap this. And I like to go just in the center. Don't overthink it. You want to be as close to center as possible on this because you're going to be drilling and tapping. So you want lots of meat on either side. Now, one of the things I can't stress enough is that when we drill and tap this hole, that we're doing it at a perfect 90 degrees off of itself. So you really want to make sure that your drill press or your mill is aligned properly before you do this. Because if you don't, what will happen is the contact wheel will not sit properly on the machine and it'll just never track. So make sure that you get this 90 degrees. All right, let's drill a 1/4 inch pilot hole, and then we're going to drill a 27/64 hole for a 1/2 inch 13 tap. I can just hear the metric folks going, oh my God. So, yeah. Everybody always asks me where I get my taps. And believe it or not, I buy my taps cheap from Harbor Freight. And also this particular tap came from Walmart, believe it or not. It is not necessary unless you're like, doing a ton of work in a machine shop. That's, repetitive tapping movements and whatever else, a lot of commercial work, to buy really expensive taps. I just think if you're a hobbyist and you're doing this, a couple times a year, you're making threads, get your taps cheap. And if they break, no big deal. That's one of the things I always buy cheap, is taps. Okay, now that the tap's been properly started, go ahead and remove it from the mill and use a tap handle to finish the job. All right, now we got the threads put down into the 1-inch block and all the way through the arm itself. Something to consider while you're doing this is just take your time, use lots of cutting fluid. I like Tap Magic myself, and just back that tap in and out, man. Don't go too crazy and don't get impatient, because you probably would end up having to rebuild this if you broke that tap off inside of there. Okay, real quick, let's talk about the hardware to make this happen. First and foremost, all bolts are not created equal. As you can see here, there is a major difference in how many threads that are on this bolt versus this bolt over here. And you really want more threads. Remember, we went in and tapped 1.25 inches. So this one here is only about 1 inch of taps. So we can't use this bolt. So we're going to go ahead and set that aside. And the other two things you're going to really need are some spacers. You can do this with a set of washers too. 1/2 inch washers will work. I really do prefer the nylon spacers, just because they're sacrificial. They'll start to wear away instead of the bearing itself wearing away. So yeah, this is pretty straightforward. We're going to thread one of these on and put the wheel on, and then thread the other one on and tighten it down. Might be a little tight. Go ahead and back that off just slightly. There we go. Now the other thing you might notice is I haven't put the Loctite on there yet, and that's because we really want to mount this on the grinder and just verify that we got our spacing correct. All right, so what I'm looking for here, now that the belt is on the machine, I'm looking to make sure that the belt is resting right in the middle of the top tracking wheel, and that when it comes down and it spins, that most of the belt is right here on the actual wheel itself. So it's just slightly off, so I'm just going to adjust the tracking out just a little bit, and that should correct any issues. Yeah. And now let's just fire it up and see how it tracks. Whenever I do these initial tracking tests, I like to make sure that my VFD is in a low speed situation so I can dial it up, just in case there's, some sort of issue with something and you kind of have to act quick. If the belt is moving slow, then it's not a big deal. All right. You can see that the belt is tracking nice. And right down the center of the tracking wheel itself, the belt is just riding right along the drive wheel as well. So all of this is just in perfect alignment. That's exactly what we're looking for. Let's turn it up a little bit and see what she's got. That's a success. All right, just to recap here, you can see we've got a standard Revolution 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch tooling arm. Those are a 1/4 inch wall thick. You got a 2-inch piece of 1-inch square welded to this tube. And then we drilled and tapped a 1/2 inch 13 hole right all the way through. Added our 1/2 inch bolt and a couple of spacers, and we are on our way. One thing to consider when you're buying this contact wheel is that you're going to have some options as far as the bearing size. And in this particular case, you're going to want a 12.7 millimeter, which equates to a 1/2 inch. Obviously, if you're buying it in the U.S., it'll say 1/2 inch internal diameter bearing. But if you're buying it from like AliExpress or Alibaba, your options will all be in metric. So 12.7 millimeters converts to 1/2 inch. Now the last step of this process is to remove the bolt, clean it, and then add a little Loctite. I like Loctite 242 because it's removable. If you add a little bit of heat to it, it'll just back right out. But in normal operating conditions, it will be seated pretty much forever. You'll never have to worry about it or think about the bolt actually loosening itself and the whole thing falling apart. I will include links down in the description for all of the things that I've used to make this build happen. You know, from the bolts to the Loctite to the steel to even the 1-inch block I got from McMaster. You can find all that, all those details, even the little nice nylon washers. I'll have that down in there as well. So I just demystify the entire process for you so you can go ahead and build this for yourself. Now listen, if you got something out of today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you click that little bell, you'll get a notification every time I upload something to YouTube. Now there's many ways to support my channel, and by far the best way is to go to housemade.us. Check out all the stuff I have there for sale. I've got pieces, parts, and plans for the Revolution 2x72 belt grinder project. I've got sharpening kits and parts and plans and stuff, and it's just a huge help to me if you would do that because it helps me continue creating content right here on YouTube. Thanks so much for hanging out in the workshop, guys. I truly appreciate your support of everything I've been doing right here on YouTube and out in the internet world or wherever. So thanks again, guys. I truly appreciate you. We'll hope to see you on the next video. My name is Brian House, and this has been Housework.